Well, the easiest way to start this off is fuck you, IGN, and fuck all of you four assholes.
Oh, you were doing so well. You were doing such a good job of finally getting
Yeah,
over it,
yeah,
and you.
yeah. I'm at the calm stage now, but I guarantee you, the more I talk about this, the more angry I'll get, and more
Yeah,
vile and kind of violent towards these people I will become. So I might as well
that's it.
become the asshole at the beginning to call these four people assholes and talentless
But they
morons
put the names of the fans, so
before.
you know.
Oh, the videos shows their names anyway. But who the fuck
I was
cares?
just saying, they know. They're basically, well, now your names are up there, they know who to contact.
Pretty much. So I don't know. I don't know. Don't need a reminder. You know what this is. You've seen it. You look at the screenshot of these four assholes. Like GameScoop did a video called Sega doubles down on Sonic, and you think we were a title called GameScoop, which honestly you should change the fucking title because that's a lie. You did not get the scoop on the new Sonic game. Everyone else got it
You took a
before you
bit.
did.
Yeah, I'm saying you took a bit of a while, about I don't know, a week.
We got the scoop 5 days late,
Yeah.
dickheads. So, and as far as they talked about, it's a new Sonic game called Sonic Mania coming out, which is all 2D classic, and there's a new new name Sonic project coming in 2017. That
Hmm.
was the extent of the reporting they did.
And
The
that was it. And basically, they went on to so what? And so what the hell are we going to talk about? Talk about it being wank? Yeah. Why don't we do that for half an hour?
It actually wasn't half an hour; it was 6 minutes. 30
And then
seconds, about 15 seconds was actual reporting. The other 6 minutes and 15 seconds was them constantly bashing the franchise as well as the fans. And you know what? It's IGN. We should ignore it. Fair enough. They give a shit review. They give a shit response. They give a shit
it's.
attitude towards the fans and the
I
series.
feel
And just, we all know this. But this video,
on the one
cle
hand, I sorry, I'm just going to say this. On the one hand, I was more giggling at this than generally angry because, to be fair, I just felt like, oh, IGN, you clearly have. You've been through this route before, and you were doing so good of finally not just going, well, it's all shit, isn't it? Anything to do with Sonic Hedgehog's all complete wank. And now you do this, and oh boy, you start it all
he
over
could have
again.
just written an article reporting on the games and leave it 2 paragraphs
Yeah.
and leave the trailers. That's it. That's all you could have done on your
Actually,
website.
funny enough, sorry again. It was like, I do remember when because IGN did an E3 press because they were streaming E3, and they did have these guys like doing like a post-show, after-show type thing of whatever conference going on, and then sort of saying, "What do you think?" and "How do you do that?" Part of me feels like if they had done this again, if Sega had been at E3 and they have announced Mania and Project Sonic, whatever you want to call it, they probably would have done the same thing then. So we would have gotten this probably during E3 time, and just
Yeah,
going
and
like,
if they did it in front of Aaron Webber on UG, and if Takeshi Iizuka was
"Oh
there to
yeah,
show
oh
as
god,"
well,
I think
if
there
they
was.
said, well, Sonic was never really good, and
Yeah.
these fans just want to have sex with Dick the Cat. That's the tipping point. You could have
That's
just
the point where I
bashed,
just went like, "You've lost." No, you have just lost it into absurdity,
you
people.
lost it, and it wasn't just the bad information of saying Green Hill Zone was from Sonic One was from Sonic Two. It's like how the fuck do you mess it up?
Yeah, I don't.
I've met people like even my wife doesn't care about Sonic as much as I do.
Mm,
Even she knows that Green Hill Zone is from the first Sonic game. You don't
yeah,
have to be a fan of Sonic to know that.
I think it's one of the main staples of just when you think of Sonic, that's one of the images that comes to your head anyway. So,
and even the most basic, not just debate that information, even other basic information was completely lost on them.
I
So,
know. I mean, I
like,
did think to myself, wow, you really are just going out here. You're not trying to have any requiem in terms of we're not going to base this on fact or anything. We're just going to go in full and saying, yeah, this is all dog shit.
yeah, like they were talking about Sonic Mania and say it's going to have remake levels of Sonic 1, 2, 3, and Knuckles and CD. Like, no, it's not. Yes, it's
Well,
going
they
to
did say
have.
it'll have new levels in.
Yeah, it said in the trailer. People who watch this and think, oh, really? I've got to see this trailer. It says new zones. It shows a new zone. Studiopolis is a new zone.
Hmm.
It's all new zones, as well as classic ones, so that information was completely disregarded.
Well, it's not that. It's the fact that they decided to talk about that, emphasize more the fact that, oh, they're doing Green Hill Zone, but they're sort of redoing it, like the last time they did it in Generations, which you decided, oh, that's not a good game now because fuck it.
Despite on your website you giving it an 8.
Yeah.
And that's one thing, like,
Uh,
ah, just everything.
I bet you part of this. Sorry, I'm just going to say this because again, I'm going to be the more light-sided of this thing, but I will say this: I bet you half the reason they've done this is I bet some of them have probably said, hey, did you hear about the stream that happened with Sonic? And they probably just went, ha ha ha, look, it's all fucked up. Aren't they all wankers? Type deal. And again, they probably would have just thought, like, it's just this argument. I think one of the biggest problems, I will say this, in many ways, I think one of the problems with Sonic is that the attitude, the overall just basically, oh, sorry, I've been saying this so many times in many blue item box, but if we could,
Yeah,
sorry.
and, like, even we bring up, it's like, I'll bring up the anti-fan, anti-Sonic and haters video,
Yeah.
because
It's
it's the same thing.
Yeah.
It's reputation from this gaming press. And even though I've had some people say you should ignore IGN because what they say is like, obviously they hate Sonic. We know that. It's just that
Can't spell it for that, IGN.
yeah, they are gaming press. They are a part of mainstream media, and their says and views can influence Sega and other gaming press as well as its viewers.
We should also mention that
It's not just me or some call me Johnny or the completionist. It's not. Our views do get taken more seriously among viewers and fans, but when it comes to actual gaming press, people who's journalists and actually get paid for writing views, they're the ones saying the negative press. They're the ones who actually have the influx of information and can influence Sega and other viewers who actually take these seriously.
Yeah, I mean, it's worth mentioning that the way I came across this whole story was actually on TSSZ News. They actually had like they have like a column like reasonable opinion, and pretty much just said that as like, when you think about it, the last few years with Sonic, it's been the gaming in the mainstream entertainment area. Its view of it is basically, yeah, it's all fucked up. You know, basically, it's not just IGN, it's been GameSpot or Game Trailers. I mean, they're fucking hell. So who's
sometimes Game Informer, Destructoid.
Exactly. You know, that is the attitude of Sonic the Hedgehog for the last few years, is thinking, it's shit, it's never been good, it was good in the 90s, but now we're all older and angrier, we just decide, no, it's all wank anyway, because who wants to play a game that you have to remember through skill and memorizing levels? Because, I don't know about you, but wasn't there another game series
that was very Mega
popular?
Man.
Yeah, and also Mr. Mario, who's, arguably has been doing this shit for a lot longer.
You can't tell me you picked up Super Mario Bros. First time and knew exactly what to fucking do, where to jump, where the fucking star was, where the extra lives were, where the warp pipes were. Yet you didn't know that. In Sonic 1, you didn't go into it and you didn't know when to jump over the spikes, when to know there's a chopper coming out of the fucking bridge. Exactly. That is trial and error, and even Mega Man based itself on trial and error, and even his boss fights is a rock, paper, scissors formation. That's trial and error. You can't say trial and error is bad in Sonic, but in every other game it's bad. It's actually a good thing.
Yeah. Again, I just find it funny that arguably his icons, because people like to say, oh, Mega Man was much better. Yeah, only when Mega Man does it the way you want it to do, rather than, I don't know, when they started the X series and all the other mini spin-offs, and then when they did 9 and 10, and then basically saying, oh, we want a game like this again, and we get Mighty Number 9 and you don't like it. Yeah. So, I don't know, people are fickle. They really are fickle with what they want.
And they're trying in vain. They are so trying in vain to say Sonic was never good. The fact that...
Yeah, I just find that more...
It wasn't IGN, it was another website, I cannot remember for the life of me, where they tried explaining in bad detail.
In bad detail.
Saying, like, Sonic was only good to all the fans and maybe some of the 90s kids was because it was the only game we had at the time. Like, our choices were very limited. It's like...
Limited, yes, from two systems.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure, like, you see other bad games that don't sell very well, and you don't see any of them today, do you? You may see, like, people trying to Kickstarter on nostalgia reports, like, Earthworm Jim comes to mind. Yeah, like, that's a popular game, but it didn't sell very well, did it?
No, the HD release didn't do that well.
HD didn't do it. We almost had an Earthworm Jim 4, but that didn't come to fruition.
That never happened, no.
No, but Sonic, 25 years of new games as well as the occasional port.
Yeah.
So, it's funny, so saying like 25 years of lies. Are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah, 25 years of lies. That's basically saying that all of Star Wars is now ruined. Put it this way. Everybody bitched and moaned for God knows how long about saying how episodes 1, 2, and 3 ruined everything about Star Wars. The absolute thing that makes Star Wars great was ruined by those prequels, all the special editions. And it's only now because of The Force Awakens going, oh wait, it's good again. In fact, I remember something. It was good in the past, even with those other versions.
It's like they're bringing up the whole "it ruined my childhood" argument. If
Yeah,
your
yeah.
childhood was based entirely on this series, it wasn't a fucking good childhood, and your parents probably never paid attention to you.
Yeah,
If
exactly.
your whole life was just Transformers, and you're saying your childhood was ruined by the Michael Bay films, what the fuck are you complaining about? And go and watch the original series. It still exists.
And by the way, actually,
And also, I brought it as well, because of the Transformers films, is the reason why we still have Transformers toys.
yeah, but I was just going to say this. I mean, ironically, with Transformers, the one thing it did do was bring it back into the limelight for a lot of people, because before it was looked upon as, oh yeah, that kind of oh yeah, that kind of weird cartoon show that's not really well produced. I mean, seriously, if you look back at it, it's not very well made in places. But generally, it's often, oh yeah, that kind of naff thing in the past, and the kind of, oh yeah, toy, yeah, whatever, I'm not interested. It's like, oh, they made dinosaurs, yeah, whatever, I don't care. Oh, they made monsters, blah, blah, blah. It's because of the live action film, at least it's gotten people interested, or at least wanted to look back into it now, than as just leave it as, oh yeah, that thing from the 80s, nobody talks about it anymore. And the other thing is, I wonder worth saying this is because, it's interesting because one of them was talking about saying when you play these games, it's like the more you play them, you realize, oh god, these games are shit. And it's more in terms of if you play them like a single, like literally one single playthrough, like if you were to play Sonic 1, 2, and 3 from beginning to end,
You will
they're
get
not the most fun games to play in terms of that.
it's a game that you would play because you were bored and you wanted something fun to play, and so you play a game. You played a single game. It was your weekend. It was your afternoon.
I mean, part of the thing, you have to remember, this was back in the days where part of it was like, how far can I go this time around back in those days? Because we didn't always have the luxury of saving stuff.
Yeah, and even Sonic 3 has a save state, but as a save feature, but you have to start at the beginning of the zone.
Mm-hmm.
So even though you may be at, say, Ice Cap, you still have to go through Act 1 all over again, even though you were right before the boss and the power went out.
And to bring up Sonic 4, which surprisingly they brought up as saying, oh, Sonic Mania, didn't they fuck up Sonic 4 last time? Which is like, yeah, but with Sonic 4, the interesting thing was just like, and I know you said this once, that you didn't quite like this, but for me it was the fact that once you finish an act, you either could play the next act, or you can have a break from it and go back to the main menu. And in many ways, that's kind of how we are as gamers these days. Some people are going to be like, I'm going to play the full game, full max, everything, discover every secret, hint, MacGuffin, all that jazz. There are those type of people. And there's other people who just want to play it for like an hour or so, maybe 15 minutes.
Just boot it. Like you got a bus to catch, so you boot it for a while. You got Sonic CD on your smartphone. You say, I want to play through Metallic Madness. You can go to the time trial zone.
There are plenty of games. There are plenty of games I played. As the more I've gone into it, the longer I've keep playing on it, I go like, oh god, this is starting to get annoying now. So I just go, right, just leave it here. Come back to it later.
Yeah,
so,
like Bioshock Infinite, for example.
Exactly. I mean, there's some games that you just want to keep going. That's one game I would generally like. I keep finding myself, actually, I'll keep going on for a bit longer. There are those type of games, but I would say Sonic for me was always like the quick thrill seeker. Like, you want to do it, have a bit of fun, and then, you know, when you've had enough, you turn it off and move on to something else.
Well, getting back to the IGN, it's just, if it was just saying they didn't like the games, they don't care, trying to push the agenda, Sonic was never good, even though it'll completely fail. And even though you can call me sad for doing this, you can, because I don't know why I did it. I think I just wanted to understand where critics and even gamers themselves, both fans and non-fans, are coming from. I tallied up every single Metacritic critic and user score.
I was going to bring this up.
Every single Sonic game, including handhelds and the Mega Drive ones. A few of them I couldn't get the scores for because they didn't exist. But some of them was like, I don't want to get the port score when I'm trying to look for the original release.
Yeah.
There are more green, like 9s and 8s, than there are bad below 5s.
Yeah, because you showed me technically they have 3 bad. There are only really 3
overall 3 bad games. If you include Sonic Genesis and Game Advance, that's 4 overall bad games. 4.
Although technically, I would make it 5 if Labyrinth was in there, because that
5 is Labyrinth, and technically 5. But as if you count Shattered Crystal, whose user score is about a 6 and above. The highest rated one was 4.6.
And you said you find it a fun game as it is.
Yeah, I find Shattered Crystal kind of fun. And even then, rest of the games, 6 upwards. They're all above average games. So
really, when you get down to it, it's Sonic. There are the gold standards we have, and the majority of games go from good to okay to maybe whatever,
Yeah.
and really the
And the
bottom end is
highest
bad.
rated Sonic game, I shit you not, is Sonic Pinball Party with a
Yeah,
with a
it's up
with a
there
9
somehow.
point something from both critics and users. So I don't know. That's probably probably the reason why it's a pinball game with Sonic. But
Yeah,
below that, it's Sonic Adventure 2, Sonic All Stars Racing Transform, Sonic Generations, and Sonic Colors.
yeah.
And even then, Sonic Adventure 2 is not that great of a game, but it is considered one of the best by both critics and fans.
It's
So
not
you
aged
cannot
well.
tell me with a straight face that Sonic was never good when I guarantee gamers and non-gamers, Sonic fans and non-Sonic fans alike will tell you Adventure 2 is great, Generations is great, and the classics were great.
Yeah, well, there's kind of a few other things because, like I said, when they talked about compared to other game series, which actually when you play them, they're all more or less the same. It's like, hang on a minute, didn't people say this about Tomb Raider a good few years ago? Like saying these are great games, but they're kind of the same, aren't they? You know, for a while, that was one of Tomb Raider's biggest problems, is that they were good games, they were high-profile games, and
Yeah,
media
but
outlets everywhere.
every single game added something new. It was
Yeah, I'm
small,
just
but
saying
added
the biggest
something new.
complaint was people were just going like, it's not that different from the last one and the one before that.
Yeah, but here's the thing. I could say exactly the same thing to Mario, to
Exactly.
Call of Duty, to generally every single fucking first-person shooter, and every single FIFA, every single sports game by EA, and what else? Nearly every single Final Fantasy because it's on on the same basis gameplay and the same basis grind.
And I thought in the gaming media, I thought Final Fantasy was getting a bigger bad rep than Sonic because it's basically, for the last good few years, what
Yeah,
has technically been good
13,
out of Final Fantasy.
13, 2, 13 Lightning Returns, the
Yeah.
original Final Fantasy 14 before Realm Reborn.
Yeah.
And also,
So,
not to mention the convoluted Kingdom Hearts, and apparently these people don't give a shit about Kingdom Hearts either, and that is considered a great game. Or game series if you actually don't count a convoluted story
yeah.
and it's timeline bullshit.
I've always.
It's like I said it earlier. Oh, sorry.
Sorry, I was going to say, the thing with me, sorry people, this is kind of a dirty thing, but I've always had this feeling with IGN, particularly because, again, we remember, most of us fans remember when they did the infamous Unleashed review saying this is worse than '06, which you think now is like, that's
Yeah, and
stupid.
the
But
game.
no, this is the point. I have this feeling that I think when that happened, it was probably like, you know, I've always said Sega got on their hands and knees saying, we're sorry, we'll fix it, we promise you, it'll take a while and whatever. And in my head, for whatever strange reason, my sort of demented view of it is basically IGN were like, okay, we'll give your game a high score if you give us a blowjob. And Sega are like, no, we're not GameSpot, so fuck you. And they were like, well, then fuck you then.
Yeah, pretty much. A lot of people saying towards IGN, even actually some of them actually reported, and it's actual fact that IGN were paid for doing good reviews that honestly on games shouldn't get good reviews.
Yeah.
And I've seen some of that. I was like, official Xbox magazine gave Kane Lynch 2 Dog Days a 9 out of 10. I've seen Kane Lynch 2. I even played a demo. It's a complete fucking garbage piece of shit.
Yeah,
And it's worse than '06.
Yeah, we'll put it this way. I mean, in the gaming media press, everybody's reaction was basically, NGS5 is probably a masterpiece. But you weren't saying that in the first. And then when you realised it wasn't good, you weren't fucking turning your backs then, were you? Oh no, you were going like, no, this game's a masterpiece. Nothing's gone wrong. That whole Konami business in Kojima, nah, the game's not suffered in any sort of manner. Oh shit, it has.
Yeah, it has. MGS5 suffered greatly because of Konami's bullshit.
I know.
But
And the fact that
IGN 10 out of 10.
balls to
Skyward
say,
Sword, 10
this
out of
is
10.
a masterpiece anyway, and then eventually going, actually, when you really, if you take it back a bit, actually, it's not that great.
Yeah, I guess I think trying to say earlier, it wouldn't be so bad if it was just bashing on Sonic and bringing up the old shit that no one gives a fuck anymore. No one gives a fuck about Rise of Lyric anymore.
No, well, that's
no one
the
does.
problem. They're always going to refer back to as in the old war wounds. They're always going to refer back to '06 or Rise of Lyric as in, oh, look at these big, massive turn-ups, aren't they awful?
Yeah. Here's the thing. They're trying to push this agenda, and it's like, there's no anti-Sonic bandwagon anymore. No, and it's come to a point, it's like,
Well, not on the serious.
you like Sonic or you don't like Sonic. It's like, you don't like Sonic, fair enough, we understand.
Yeah, I mean, look at Yahtzee. He doesn't like
even
Sonic, but
yeah,
he's not. Yeah.
He actually doesn't like Sonic, but he doesn't go. He do the occasional jab, and then again, that's his style. That's his style of video. He will push an analogy, a simile. It will kind of belittle people, but it's not. It's all in a good sense of fun because that's his style.
That's his sense of humor. I mean, again, it's just kind of he's a gamer anyway, so he plays a lot of other games that are probably even worse than the
Yeah,
majority
and
of Sonic games.
another thing, he actually plays the damn game. He doesn't play the first 2 levels and think it's shit and leaves it. Unless he actually specifically states in like his recent video on Song of the Deep, or last week's video,
Yeah.
he didn't complete that one, and he actually addressed it, and he addressed it in like a lot of videos he didn't complete.
Well, like look at Final Fantasy 13, he basically just didn't do. He basically did the first few hours of it until it just drove him nuts.
Yeah. So again, it's like this is a fifth time said it. If it was just the jokes, if it was just the bashing of the franchise because there were a bunch of dicks, fair enough, we could ignore that and think typical IGN. But they had to go one step further, and as we said at the beginning, the third arsehole with the glasses and the beard said, "Oh, these people just genuinely keep liking the series because they want to have sex with Big the Cat." Are you fucking serious?
Isn't that basically like saying, I like... I'm trying to think of
I like My Little Pony because I want to skull fuck my
Yeah, actually,
Rainbow
that's
Dash.
one thing I was going to bring up. They say cloppers. What was that? They use them with the word cloppers, which when I think of that, aren't they those brick things with faces in Mario? I mean, in my head, it's like, that was what I was thinking of cloppers. It's like, aren't they those the enemies in Mario games? And when I think of them, it's like, you sound like they have giant testicles every time they hit the ground. Oh boy.
Yeah, it's just... that's the thing. That's the main thing everyone took away from this is this one fucking dickhead, and everyone, other 3 idiots as well, agreed with him and laughed with the joke that all the Sonic fans just want to have sex with Big the Cat. Are you fucking serious?
I mean, at that point,
it's pretty much I could turn it around and say, for it to turn around, oh, there's no Mario fans. These people just want to have sex with birds.
Yeah,
these people are fans of Call of Duty. They just want to stick a musket up their ass.
Yeah, there's never been any truth there's never been part of the Mario fandom where someone has not erotically thought of, yes, I'm going to do Princess Peach right up her patch.
Yeah, you can apply that to anyone, just because, and I made a comment on this. I tried being as non-violent as I could.
Well, to be fair, you're just in the rape rather than...
The 06 was a decade ago, and just understand that. Sonic 06 was a decade ago. We've had good games since then. It's like, and the only thing I can say to these morons, these talentless hacks who are not video game journalists, is it's 4 people who have an agenda against Sonic.
Let me put it this way, the show...
IGN, I'm talking directly right now, and I hope the fuck you're listening. If you're ever going to report on Sonic again, can you at least get someone who actually knows Sonic, who actually played the games, and actually maybe not be as passionate, maybe not be as enthusiastically involved in Sonic.
How about judge it by its own merits rather than going with a biased view? How about that?
Yeah. How about you get someone who actually knows a thing or two, not the 7 or 8 dickheads you have there who has a thing to say or two. It's that simple. If you don't like Sonic, don't report on it. You could have been very professional here, and you consider yourself professional. You're part of IGN. You're part of Gaming Media Press, who has a large influence on Sega and possibly all other viewers. If you're going to report on the news, report on the fucking news. Actually, pay attention to the facts that were delivered to you.
Yeah,
if you're just going to mention the 2 titles and go off for about 5 or 6 minutes of just nothing but complete bullshit, jokes amongst yourselves, and saying that Sonic, and one thing that always confused me is that it says also the hypocrite nature as well, saying, oh, Sonic was never good.
Yeah.
And the same guy later would say, oh, there's only one other good Sonic game, and that was Sonic CD. Are you kidding? You completely contradict yourself, you fucking arsehole.
That's like basically going like, yeah, all of it's shit. Oh, wait a minute, actually, the second game was kind of good. Yeah, that was good. Oh, and Three Knuckles is kind of fun. Yeah, that had a good thing. Oh, and Adventure, it's aged, but actually I kind of like it. It's one of those things when you really start thinking about it, oh shit, I've really fucked myself over.
I'm not a fan of the Call of Duty series. I'm really not. But I'm not going to come out and say that was never any good Call of Duty, because I have publicly stated that I actually enjoyed Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare, and I have played World at War. I have played Black Ops. I have tried to play Modern Warfare 2. Since then, I've just grown disinterest in the franchise. I have tried playing Battlefield 3 and Battlefield 4, and I just bought the fucking tears. I'm not a fan of modern day first person shooters, but I have enjoyed one title.
So I want to sorry, I want to take it off because, again, my attitude to this is like, IGN doing this is like partly not too surprising because, like I said, they've
It's
done
not
it
too
before.
surprising, but the fact that they actually
No,
they got these four morons to come out and literally say to you,
yeah.
we at
Yes,
IGN do not like Sonic, and we will tell you exactly what we feel and belittle and insult you.
Yeah, I mean, that's part of the problem, is basically, if you like this series, then for shame on you. You enjoy Sonic the Hedgehog, for shame, you are dysfunct. For shame, you are liked into something as ridiculous as this. For shame! You know, that type of deal. But I really want to make it clear, is like, again, IGN doing this shit is like, partly hilarious to me, because again,
It's like flies around shit, basically.
Exactly.
You expect it.
Yeah, but the thing is that, like I said, one of the issues is that mainstream gaming, particularly when it comes to Sonic in the media, it's been like this for such a fucking long time. It has been such a downer. Another entry's coming out. That's going to be shit. What was the big fuck up this time? Oh, what's the mean that this time? Oh, what a fan has done to make everybody look like idiots. You know, all that bullshit. And it's been going on for ages, and I do think a lot of it is because of Sonic's reputation has been really tarnishing those vines. And a lot of it, I bet, comes out from bias, because again, a lot of them comes from just genuine, like, distrust and, like, you betrayed me in a way. Like,
the majority of this, just that thing came from Sonic 06. That's pretty much like what the catalyst for people not liking anything regarding Sonic because they felt betrayed, which, honestly, get the fuck over yourself. It's just a video game.
But that's the point. The point is that to them, this has such a legacy. We know about the Sonic legacy. That's always brought up in one of these conversations. Like, it was good. It was brilliant at one point in time. And so recently this bullshit started happening. But again, it's always that thing of, you were once a childhood icon, but now you betrayed me for some reason. Your last game, you felt like you dishonored me or anything. It's like with the Star Trek films, like the last two J.J. Abrams films. People felt like you just made everything that Star Trek stood up for. You ruined it for me. And in many ways, it's like, dude, it's a parallel universe. They're allowed to do this. It's okay for them to change things up.
The same thing with Sonic Boom Rise Lyric. Yeah, it kind of shattered the fundamentals of building Sonic back up to an actual iconic status, even though he's still an icon in gaming.
Yeah,
you can recognize Sonic the Hedgehog anywhere. But the thing is, like, it's like Sonic was never good, and actually just the whole thing, like, we got Unleashed. Yeah, it wasn't perfect, but it was a stepping block. We got Colors, which is considered one of the best 3D Sonic games, despite it being 75% 2D.
Yeah.
We got Sonic Generations, which is regarded the second best 3D Sonic game next to Adventure 2. And Adventure 2 has not aged great either, but that's still considered great. We had Lost World, which was different. And, like, yeah, fair enough. We had 4 games that were building up upon. Unleashed, Lost World stumbled, but we were getting good. We had Sonic for episode 1 and 2. Yeah, we had shit in between. We had episode 1, which compared to episode 2 is kind of bad, and we had Sonic Free Riders, which is one of the worst Sonic games.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So then Sonic Boom comes along and it completely shatters it. It's like the Sonic cycle doesn't exist. So
no, it's the wheel of pessimism. That's how I call it.
Sonic cycle doesn't exist, and if it did exist, it's Sonic Colors broke it pretty much. Like, there is no Sonic game out there right now that has used the Sonic cycle because Colors broke it. Generations completely destroyed it. Lost World didn't exist.
Well, nobody knew what to expect with Lost World. That was the thing.
No, it's like you can't just bring up the Sonic cycle. You can't bring up Sonic was never good. You can't bring it up. Oh, and even then, they brought up no fucking facts towards this. They brought up no arguments to say
here's
why
the thing,
Sonic
basically.
was bad.
Alright, the one other thing I want to say is basically the way this show works, because essentially it's just the 4 of them sitting in a studio-type living room.
It's pretty much us. It's like a podcast.
It's like us, yeah. It's like we would do the same shit. If we were bad-mouthing about Twilight, people go like, oh, those dickheads, how sensitive they are. It's like, but that's what happens when we get in that mood. We end up just talking shit and saying stuff that if anybody else was around us would go like, oh, we shouldn't have said that.
But at least us, we're not professional people. We don't get paid for all of this.
No.
We do this for fun because we have something to say, and we know a thing or two. Like, we don't, like you said, we don't like Twilight. Really fucking don't.
Yeah, but again, you're not gonna make a show about.
No, I'm not gonna belittle all the fans. I'm not gonna belittle Stephanie Meyer. I'm not gonna belittle Robert Pattinson and Kirsten Stewart.
Yeah, exactly.
Even though she really needs to learn how to smile.
Yeah, but that's a whole different story anyway. But the point is that we're not, we don't have an interest in that really to really get riled up about it or say this was never good in the first place. I think that's the difference.
No, it's this video and these morons insulted an entire fan base. It wasn't so much so of, like we said, it wasn't so much so of bashing Sonic. It was a direct insult to us, a direct insult to people who grew up with the franchise, and even people who are well-mannered individuals who actually have families and jobs. Basically, people who created the Summer of Sonic, the people who make the games.
Yeah.
And to say that we're all alike because of one or two people on the
internet. Oh yeah, exactly. Put a bunch of autistic kids in the same room and you'll see how fucking not sane we all are, trust me.
I'm friends with 5 other autistic people, and I guarantee you...
You will never find a more varied amount of people when you have a bunch of autistic kids in the same area, trust me.
I guarantee you each one has a different obsession of a specific subject.
Yeah.
Like, one of my best friends has autism, and he doesn't like Sonic.
Yeah.
That argument is invalid. Exactly. And because a few people on the internet have drawn porn of Sonic the Hedgehog doesn't mean that every single person of Sonic the Hedgehog fandom draws porn and whacks off to it.
That's like saying every Star Trek person basically thinks, God, what would it be like if Kirk and Spock were doing with each other? Like, that's all they ever think about.
That's a small part of that fandom. Yeah. You can't compare a few hundred to a few million.
Yeah, exactly.
Just because they're most extroverted of the lot doesn't mean shit.
Yeah. One thing I want to say... Sorry.
We're going to wrap this up because I'm getting more and more...
All right. I want to make... Here's another point I want to really put down is that I met a guy at something called Brickshire. Brickshire. It's basically a Yorkshire Lego exhibition thing. And there was a guy who actually built a recreation of the first issue of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles cover in Lego. And I actually talked to him a few times how I did it, and I asked him, it's like, oh, what do you think of the new feature film? I was like, yeah, I loved it. It's like, really? He's like, yeah, I enjoyed it. I mean, I think it's good. I was like, okay, you like it. And the last time I met him, I said, are you going to see Battle of the Shadows? It's like, yeah, I'm really excited to see it. And at that point, I thought to myself, okay, this man's just insane for liking this shit. It's like, fair enough. He likes it. Enjoy it. And I asked him, you like it it's not being ironic or anything. It's not like, oh, I like it, but it's really bad on purpose. Ha ha ha. It's like, no, I enjoy these type of films. I know there's shit wrong with them. I'm fully aware of that. But I'm entertained by it. And I'm willing enough to say good and bad.
Yeah, like with me, I'll still say Sonic Unleashed and Sonic Heroes, despite their flaws, I still find very enjoyable. I enjoy playing as the Werehog.
Yeah, but that's the point. It's like a Turtle fan, normally your idea of a Turtle fan thinking, oh, all Turtle fans hate the Michael Bay editions. And what I've seen is that's not true. I've met one person who enjoys them. He likes Ninja Turtles as it is, and comics and animation, and he likes these recent live-action films. That's great. If he finds enjoyment, brilliant. I don't feel like I'm going to belittle him. I don't feel like I'm going to lecture him about, say, this is 40 reasons why it's wrong and you should not like this film. You should not enjoy this. You don't have the right to like this. And I think that's probably the problem with this whole vid that we're talking about, is it's basically saying you are not allowed in any capacity, even though we're not fucking backing it up, to like any of this shit.
Yeah. So basically, even after all what I've said, even after everything, I'm still sticking by what I say on this. But there's only 2 reasons why I think they released this. Either one, they genuinely hate Sonic and want to put that forward to everyone and insult them at the same time because they don't give two shits about what you think.
Yeah, I think the other reason is because being the 25th anniversary, I thought, oh, what's a good time to get more publicity out of Sonic by talking shit out of it when it's its big anniversary.
That's the second reason. They did it for clickbait. Maybe none of them actually hate Sonic or just don't care about it, but just enough to think, you know what, well, I've got a few things to say, we can get some views on this despite them being negative.
Yeah, I mean that's the worst thing. Is that the last thing you want is to go to somebody's birthday party and being the killjoy, and that's basically what IGN are. Is basically here is the big party anniversary deal with both in San Diego and of course Summer of Sonic that's happening, and basically there's just the big killjoy comes in. You are all gay. Just like the one person who just says gay. All of us is gay. Fuck you, and then walks off.
So
thinking he's not going to get fucking lynched.
End of it all, those you four morons, just go fuck yourselves, honestly. You
I
you
really,
have if you have nothing nice to say, if you can't even do your job to report on the gaming news, and you have nothing nice to say, you may have your own like agendas and whatnot. If you have nothing nice to say, just don't say anything at all.
yeah, we'll put it this way. I'll end with this. I mean, you wouldn't ask me, never ask me to do anything on Butch Hartman because I do not like the guy's work. I don't hate the man. He's probably very nice. He's probably intelligent, and he's been in the industry for many years. He even had a weird connection with Crash Bandicoot. Again, that's another story. But generally, his work, and I do mean this is based on stuff like Fairy Old Parents, Danny Phantom, Tough Puffy. I'm sorry, I cannot see any good in that stuff. And I would not want to be just the one guy to just go, this is all shit and gay, and you're all idiots for liking it, because that's not fair. That really isn't fair, and I would not want to put that on people.
Yeah,
And quite frankly, that is the difference of being a professional, is in, if you're trying to be a professional journalist, you have to look at it from both sides and figure out what
you
is
have
your
to have you have to have an objective and a subjective view on things. You can't
exactly.
you can't just say you can't just say you're not allowed to like this. It's like there are some things you're not allowed to like. You're not allowed to sympathize with Nazis. You're not allowed to like pedophiles or anything anything that can affect you, anything that's morally wrong. You're not allowed to like.
Nothing that's morally wrong. Liking Sonic the Hedgehog is not a moral issue. I think that's the point we're trying to get here. Liking Sonic doesn't make you a pedophile or some Nazi supporter. It's just something you like, and some people like, some people don't. Doesn't make you a monster. I mean, compared to IGN, they're turning into monsters.